There's Biggie. Right.
Howdy.
Biggie thinks I'm trying to drive him crazy. Did you hear that just a moment ago?
I did, and it wouldn't. I'm not sure that you're able to play that game of. What do they say? Everyone else is playing checkers, but you're playing chess. I don't know that you're capable of pulling off a move like that,
No,
Kelly.
that's right. That's right.
But I think your end goal is certainly
It's there.
to drive Biggie nuts.
We have a behind-the-scenes system here where Biggie and I go back and forth. There's an in-between. I'm giving him a few instructions early in the morning, and today told him to gather a couple of things. Wrote it to him in an email, and just moments before this part, we have a story coming up, this segment, in fact, about the largest pumpkin ever grown. That's right. We're doing it.
on the radio.
That's right. We have a segment about the largest pumpkin.
I don't like him on TV. Oh, boy.
In fact, this whole first segment, there's also a segment, a story here that I saw today about a man who's gone to an all raw meat diet. And when I saw that, I thought, Kristen will likely go, cuckoo, cuckoo.
It's my first thought as well.
When I bring it up, I'll think, oh, an all raw meat diet, is that something I could possibly...
Tell me more.
Could I eat nothing but
Go on.
And Kristen will go cuckoo, cuckoo, and that'll be the end of it, you know. But here's how I'm driving Biggie insane. I sent him an email today saying we need this, and the very last thing on there was we got to get this pumpkin audio. This is big, okay, and literally big. This is an enormous,
The world's biggest
pumpkin. All right, you think we're going to go a whole day and not cover this? I mean, you think we're not going to lead with world's largest pumpkin grown by a Minnesota farmer who was driven out of the farming business for a time and came back to it? That's how important it is. Well, 8 minutes before this show began, I look at my sheet and I don't see it. It's not there. So I dial into Biggie and said, where's that farmer with a pumpkin? He goes, what are you talking about? I said, I gave you that farmer with a pumpkin. He goes, I didn't see that. So I go back. Instead of just saying, grab it, I go back to the sent email.
To prove Biggie wrong?
Yes. Biggie wrong. I see it. It's there. I have sent it. And I say to him, yeah, it's the last thing on that all-important document that I sent you an hour ago.
That you clearly didn't read. That's the subtext.
And then Biggie said, okay, I just barely have time to get it. If you don't mention a thing about it on air, we'll just smoothly get to it. But I said, no, we're not going to play that game. We're going to hold you accountable. And when I came in just moments ago, he said, I think you're trying to systematically drive me insane.
Because you'll do this from time to time, and I admit when I make mistakes, but I know that I scrolled all the way down to the bottom this morning multiple times.
No,
I think you're finding a way. I think maybe this
To
is...
manipulate emails once they're sent?
I do. I think maybe this act of, I don't know technology.
Yeah.
I think it's an act.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because now I feel crazy because I sat there and I said to myself, I'm going to really make sure, scroll all the way down.
Yeah. Slowly driving you insane.
Could it have been, Biggie, that you saw this and said, world's largest pumpkin? Well, that's not going to work on the radio.
Could you have subconsciously said, well, God knows.
No one will cover that.
Maybe my subconscious is...
We're not going to mention, for goodness sakes. Surely, we're not mentioning the
This
world.
is not what we're doing, right?
Come on. That can't be. Yesterday, interestingly, different interaction between myself and Dave Aiken. I had to send him some codes and instruction for something to do, totally behind the scenes. And he came to me and said, hey, you sent the wrong codes, so everything we're going to air in hour 5 is going to be awful. It's going to be last week's stuff. It's going to be repeats. It's going to be
Incorrect.
And I looked back trying to prove him wrong, of course. Well, that was my mistake. And I said to him, I said, boy, if Biggie had done this, I would read him the riot act. I would absolutely. I said, this is something I would crush Biggie over.
But see, you see Dave as a peer and me as a subordinate.
Well, but it's my mistake. I did it wrong.
Yeah.
But I said, oh, Dave, If Biggie had just done this, it would have been so satisfying. I love it when Biggie makes a mistake.
Yeah, you can grind him under your heel just one more time.
My favorite thing, it's like my favorite thing to do. I know. Yesterday, at this time, I said to you, I think I'm going mad because I had jotted down a great factoid I read last week about growing old. It was about aging, and I jotted it down, and then I couldn't remember where it was or what I had put or anything. And now I found it, and it's not a great factoid at all. It's a terrible, it's a terrible thing. I think I might be going mad myself here in the season for driving someone mad.
I think maybe we all do that, where we really build something up sometimes. And then you wait a day and you go back and look at it and you're like, that wasn't worth it at all.
Well, it's not even a factoid. Listen to what it is somewhat interesting. I read it and I thought I'll just tuck that away and file it away. Listen to what happened. It's really terrible. In 2010, a guy in Tokyo on his birthday, became the oldest living person in Japan. He turned 111 years old. And I guess officials knew that. So they were going to his home to give his family like a plaque and make a big deal out of it that he had turned 111 and it was now the oldest living person in Japan. I think that, they keep track of that because when somebody dies, they'll say the oldest living person in America died at 112 or whatever it is. Well, when they got there, they discovered that that he had died 30 years earlier and the family had been collecting his checks. In Japan, and literally his skeletal remains were inside the house. They started acting fishy, saying, "Oh, he's not well," and this and that, and they could tell something was wrong. So then they got like an injunction to go into the house, and they found his bones. And he had died 30 years earlier at the age of 81, and they had him on record as being the oldest person in Japan. And they've been cheating the government out of 30 years of pension checks, whatever they have there.
I'm no welfare fraud, but I could learn.
Yeah.
Is it necessary to keep the bones?
Didn't have to keep. No, couldn't. Didn't.
And obviously, you couldn't go through. You couldn't go through proper channels and have him buried.
No,
because there would be a record.
Right. So,
I mean, could you just dump them in a river, or would that be discovered too?
That'd probably be discovered. I think that's why they kept the bones, is they were so worried about being discovered.
Just put it in a back closet.
Yeah,
covered in a blanket.
Right in the house. Yes, they did. They kept them right. That's like.
Would you take that record, Kelly? I know you want to live to be 100.
Yes.
But if you pass, I mean, the actuarial tables say, 72, 73? I mean,
I think it's older
on the back
I
nine.
think it's 78.
Maybe.
Yes. I think I'm going higher than that.
Perhaps. Maybe not for men of your size. I mean, there are other factors.
Size does
play.
Size is important.
But would you take that record to get the headline for a day? World's oldest man lives in,
Yeah.
It would be your name, but then 2 days later, your kids would be let out in handcuffs.
Yeah, I'd take that. In fact,
just for the glory, the fleeting glory.
Maybe I should show them this story and say, whenever I just do this, just keep
us off the books.
Just keep it off the book. Keep my old bones down in the basement or whatever. Just put them in a
maybe
corner.
Buy like a spare single bed, and you're going to need a lot of cling wrap because it's going to stink.
The first year is going to be tough.
Don't
you think? Yeah,
it's going to be rough.
How long? How long? A year
until the flies get at you.
Yeah, until you.
I think they seal you up and leave you for 2 years, maybe longer.
I do too.
They'd almost need to mummify you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Because I think that prevents a lot of that rot.
That's going to be. They said they found his skeletal remains. Does that mean bones, or maybe it's?
I think just slowly dissolved. 30 years, right?
30 years. After 30 years, he's nothing but a skeleton left now. And I think the first year would be the toughest with the stink and all. And then I don't know when that would subside, but they had to go through that for 30 years. It's very a spoiler now if you haven't seen Psycho. They find those skeletal remains
of a main character.
Of a main character that you think is a main character the entire time.
Yeah.
They find those skeletal remains. And I wanted to share this with Biggie. It's his month of reviewing horror movies. Today, Carrie in Garbage Time. Biggie will do Carrie. These reviews have been phenomenal.
I agree.
What a week you've had. What a 10 days you've had here to start this thing. The Thing has changed my life. I haven't seen it.
Not yet.
But I will see it. You gave that 9 pumpkins. And yesterday, you had great reviews of 3 different movies. You had Hellraiser 2 and Candyman. And I just tell you, you're doing a tremendous job here. They did somebody went to the experts' websites. They went to all the websites ranking horror movies. I thought this was interesting. There's websites everywhere. Here, the best horror movies, this and that. And they compiled the top 5 of all the different websites of what
I think this is what we in the business call an aggregate.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So they did an aggregate
survey of the surveys.
Yes, of all the scariest horror movies. And I think they got a good list. I've seen them all. And 5 is It Follows, which Biggie reviewed last year. I wouldn't put that in my top 5.
No, I hated that.
You didn't like that movie. Mm-mm. That's the thing where
That was a very clever movie.
I did too.
I really enjoyed it.
You had to sex away the monster, the killer. It chased you until you had sex with somebody.
That's how it entered you and how you had to get rid of it. It's a great concept.
For me, it's a fantastic concept because, you get sex in a movie, which I love, as well as a slashing
young,
killer.
horny people.
Yeah. Really.
A murderous presence.
Yeah. It is an interesting concept. I thought it fell apart a little at the end, but I enjoyed it. I wouldn't put it in my top 5, but I enjoyed it. The others, classics. 4, The Shining. Okay. Gets better and better with each, to me, as the years pass. When I first saw The Shining, 30 years ago, more than 35 years ago, I thought, that's okay. Now it's really a creepier, scarier movie. Paranormal Activity, which I thought was very good. I don't think I'd put it in my top 5, but it was very good. That one where it's...
that one I have not seen.
Well, they're inside a house, and the house is haunted, and it's kind of shot documentary style. It's in the form of Blair Witch.
Okay.
It's a couple in a house and being driven slowly mad. You did Paranormal Activity last year, didn't you?
That's on this year.
Oh, it's on this year's.
But I remember seeing that in the theater.
Yeah.
And that did scare the bejesus out of me.
It's
and
a
I
scary
still
one.
haven't watched it since.
It's a scary one. So you're reviewing that this year?
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's probably the one I'm dreading the most because I know it's going to scare me. And the one tomorrow I'm really dreading too.
What's tomorrow?
The Nun. Oh, sorry. The Nun is tonight.
Oh, then you're watching it tonight and reviewing it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
The Nun.
I think it's part of that whole... The Conjuring series.
Yeah.
But she just looks terrifying.
The Nun. I haven't seen that. Top 2, absolute classics. Halloween.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
I love that scene. I've always loved that movie, and it is a classic. But I don't think my kids, I was discussing this with somebody else the other day, they don't find it as scary, and they don't find number 1 as scary either, which is The Exorcist. The Exorcist was, when you put all the lists together.
Well, then let's introduce ourselves. I'm Damien Karras.
And I'm the devil. Now kindly undo these straps.
If you're the devil, why not make the straps disappear?
That's much too vulgar a display of power, Karras.
That's Kristen's favorite line.
My favorite line of the whole film.
Yeah.
Much too vulgar display of power. Yet he'll float and do all
Yeah, he'll do everything else.
Walk backwards across the ceiling.
Head
Yeah.
turn.
Oh, you want me to take these straps off? I bet you do. Look, I'm not a circus act. I'm the devil. Why don't you give me a challenge?
Look, I know I can crush you. You know that I can crush you. And I know that you know that I know that you know.
What are you going to do?
I'm not going to do it.
No.
Not going to perform for you. Should do the head turn around. All of that.
Yeah.
Not the straps.
No.
It's too much.
What is it, burlap? Oh, man. It's my weakness.
I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. So that's your number 1 is The Exorcist. And I'd probably agree. I mean, when I first saw it, I thought, my God, it doesn't get any scarier than that. Now the technology has come a long way, of course. And, I was talking with my friend the Diesel, who says his son, who's very into cinema, he's going to school to make movies.
He's a talented young man.
Oh, yeah. He didn't find The Exorcist that scary. He just, it's older now. But, boy, at the time, I thought that was just unbelievable. Biggie continues his reviews today. Let's get to these things. Kristen will hate all of these. Las Vegas man is 30. He lives what he calls a Neanderthal-inspired diet by eating raw meat every day. He tried it 8 years ago when he was high on acid. He said he was on an acid trip, and he decided to eat a little raw steak. He'd always enjoyed his steak very, very rare. So he ate it raw. And he said, since then, that's all he's done is eat raw fish and raw red meat. Not chicken, not poultry.
Well, it won't kill you because, I mean, carpaccio is on restaurant menus.
That's correct. That's right. And that's what he said.
But it's risky, right? I mean, there are risks.
You can get... See, he said he's never gotten sick, but I think you could get sick from it.
It's still about, I believe, about preparation, and I just hope this man dies this way.
Biggie.
You're lashing.
Yeah.
I think,
No, I don't think I'm lashing on this. I hope when I see stuff like this, because it's going to give some other fool some idea.
You think?
And he'll kill, I do, he'll kill 5 people because of his story.
Because of a TikTok trend?
Exactly.
he eats raw burgers, raw steaks, raw rabbit he eats. Now that, raw, completely, never cooks it at all. He drinks, now this is the only thing he says he's a little worried about. He drinks unpasteurized milk, which is illegal in most states. But you know, you have to have pasteurization. But he says no, he gets it.
But if you live on a dairy farm, you can milk your cows, right, and just drink it.
That's correct.
Maybe
Now,
is it you just can't sell it?
I think that's
I'm
right.
not sure what the rules are.
In the stores, of course, you can't get unpasteurized milk, in at least most places. He's a flight attendant. His name is Rusty McIntyre, and he says since he's gone to this diet, he's 30 now, he started when he was 22, he says he feels stronger, better, leaner, has had way more energy because he eats everything raw vegetables as well, but mostly raw meats. He switched because he was concerned he was losing nutrients by cooking his food. He was reading that in holistic cookbooks, that you lose nutrients by cooking the food. And
He's done his research.
yeah,
Let's see, acid trip, holistic cookbooks. Got it.
he said as high as a kite when he first tried it, and then thought, this really works.
I would imagine that with a job like that, that's a little challenging.
As a flight attendant?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
When are you gonna go to Sabara once they give me a hunk of pepperoni?
Yeah, how's he do that? That's a good question.
I mean, that's already been cooked too, right? The
Yes.
pepperoni somehow, somewhere.
Yes. I imagine he just goes to a grocery store and buys some raw meat, and I mean anywhere
Just
he goes.
takes it, but he's a flight attendant.
Well, if he eats raw fish, he could do sushi if he
He
good
does.
place.
He does eat a lot of raw fish.
Yeah.
And his favorite is octopus, squid. He will eat raw, which I guess that is doable. I mean,
Yeah.
people
Oh,
do
yeah.
that. And the fish, as you said. And he says he's...
Sometimes,
he's great.
we've all had crudo.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
Yellowfin crudo is delightful.
You know how I like it? I like the pseudo crab.
In real cream cheese.
Yes. My favorite place to get sushi is Sam's Club.
Yeah.
Because it's very similar to Walmart sushi, but bigger. And I told my wife went over to Sam's Club the other day. She goes, "Do you know they have sushi?" I said, "Did I know it? I eat it
Where do you think I spend my days?
in the car all the time."
You know they had sushi there? Hey.
Yeah. He posts all of his meals on social media.
Of course.
Says he's getting a tremendous following.
He's going to kill someone. My bet is 5 people.
Well, maybe Biggie, would you feel better if he just died of worms
Yeah.
from the inside out?
Well, see, the problem is he's doing his quote unquote research and eating the right things. Some idiots will look at that and see eats raw meat and they'll go, okay, I'm gonna get ripped like him. I'll eat raw meat.
That's exactly what I thought.
But they won't read into it like he did. They'll end up eating raw chicken,
Oh yeah, you can't do
or
that.
they'll eat raw, turkey or something, and they'll end up dying. And
No
they'll be like,
poultry. No
"Well,
poultry."
but he did it, and they're like, no, you didn't read it all the way.
Yeah, I mean, I know
You
better.
know what
than
they
that.
did? They didn't scroll to the bottom of the email.
They're being driven systematically mad
Yep.
by not going all the way to the bottom of the email. Stories Chris Demm will hate, part 2. A woman has a 15-pound mass in her stomach, and her sister has thrown a gender reveal style party for her.
Oh my God.
She said we wanted to make it fun. Fun. She said we wanted to do something.
Well, you have to have surgery for that, right?
Yeah, they're having the surgery. They put it on TikTok, of course.
So instead of throwing an "it's a boy" or "it's a girl" party, my sister threw me "it's a mass party," an ovarian mass, that is. We played many games such as guess the size of my belly and how much the mass weighs, and many prizes were given out. As part of our humor, my whole family wore different shades of blood, and we even cut cake, like a birthday cake. I'm hoping my mass is benign.
Pet peeve about TikTok, there's always some song behind it. There's always, they have to put a song in there with it. Well, they did indeed have the gender reveal style party for her mass, and now they're waiting on results, and they're hoping it's benign, but it was huge, 15 pounds. Then she started gaining weight and didn't know why, and felt pressure down in her stomach. So that's what they did. They wanted to treat it with humor. And I thought, boy, Chris Demm's going to absolutely hate
everything about it.
Everything about it. That's a serious thing that she said, we just wanted to do something fun with it. Young people.
Look, I understand positive mental attitude can go a long way if you're dealing with something potentially serious. But
Yeah, that's what they were trying.
what color shirt would you wear? What color red?
I know. When I saw that, I was like, that's too far. Blood red shirts. It's like those. People have period parties, which we've heard of before.
Well, yeah, when young girls get their onset.
Nope.
I'm guessing not at your home.
God, no. Your wife would never.
No, we don't do.
No.
We don't do.
There were no red velvet cupcakes one day for no reason.
Not that I've seen. No,
But you'd eat them.
Oh, God, of course. That's my favorite cupcake.
What is all this red velvet doing here? Oh, no.
That is my favorite cupcake.
This is a sensitive topic to me right now. I just watched Carrie.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot. Major plot point.
That's your review
in the movie
today.
of the day.
That is your review today.
And one of the most terrifying scenes I've ever seen.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Had you seen it before?
Change you.
Had you ever seen it?
Not that part.
You just seen the ending.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that part is awful. That's the first Stephen King book I ever read. I was in 7th grade, and somebody said Stephen King is this horror author. And when I read it, I was trying to make sense of it. It's like that first. It's right in the beginning.
Right in the beginning.
And she has an unfortunate her menstrual. She has her menses. And it was a really bad one. It was really tough. It was tough on her. And I remember going like, what are they talking about? What are they doing there? I don't think we have time for that pumpkin story. Apologize, Biggie. I wanted Biggie to get that audio. We don't have time for it.
I know how this goes. It'll sit till next Halloween.
Is it just some loon farmer? Yeah, she's a big one, all right. I thought I had to put it on a trailer and weigh it.
I'm so sorry, Biggie. That's the one I told you had to get, and we were arguing.
You can't eat it just for looking at.
World's largest pumpkin. We got the world's largest pumpkin here. Well, maybe later today. Maybe we'll do it later.
Dregs of garbage.
Yeah, in garbage time, maybe we'll do it.